Welcome to WID, helping millions understand the money behind America's biggest stories. Because every dollar has a story, and today we're decoding this one. We need to start right off the bat with a hard truth. AI isn't coming for your job. At least, well, that's really not the right question we should be asking. See, the much bigger question is this. What happens to your income when someone who understands AI can do the work of 3 people? And what happens when their company actually realizes it? Think about it. For the first time in generations, we are watching machines step up and perform tasks that used to require expensive, specialized human knowledge. So it's not just a technology story anymore. It is fundamentally a money story, which leads us to the absolutely crucial point. When a machine starts doing all the heavy lifting of human thought, who exactly gets those productivity gains, right? Who gets paid more and who ends up getting replaced? And honestly, perhaps most importantly for us, how can an ordinary person position themselves right now before this entirely new economy fully hits us? Part 1, more than a technology story. In this decode, we're uncovering exactly why AI is this massive, fundamental economic force. It's literally shifting the core pillars of our economy, productivity, labor, and capital, in ways we really haven't seen since the Industrial Revolution. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Just imagine a traditional workflow that takes 5 people to complete. Now, you introduce AI into the mix. That doesn't automatically mean 4 people get fired on the spot. Economics is rarely that simple. Instead, the outcomes completely shift depending on how the business reacts. Maybe the company keeps those same 5 people, but now they produce 5 times as much stuff. Maybe that massive surge in production leads to lower prices for consumers. Or maybe it just leads to fatter profits for the business. The end result isn't predetermined at all. It depends entirely on how businesses, consumers, and workers adapt to the new normal. And this kicks off what we're calling the productivity boom. Seriously, imagine being able to knock out in just 2 hours what used to take you an entire day. It sounds incredible, right? But it immediately brings up this very real emotional and economic question. Who owns that extra time? Does the worker get to clock out early but keep the same paycheck? Or does the boss suddenly expect 5 times the output for the same rate? Apparently, the robot doesn't need coffee breaks. Humans, well, we remain unconvinced. Part 2, the new productivity premium. So that brings us to our next discovery, and it sets up a really fascinating curiosity loop for us. If this technology unleashes a massive wave of new economic benefits, who actually wins? Is it the investors funding the tech, the business owners rolling it out, or the workers actually using it? Let's break down how this hits your day-to-day work. It is so helpful to look at a job not just as a single title, but as a giant puzzle made up of a bunch of different tasks. This is huge, guys. AI replacing a specific task is wildly different from AI replacing an entire profession. Take a look at this shrinking slice of repetitive, administrative duties. But then, look at this solid foundation that stays right where it is. Human judgment, trust, and relationship building. Listen, jobs in accounting, marketing, or healthcare administration, they aren't going to just vanish overnight. They're going to evolve. They'll shed the boring, repetitive admin stuff while doubling down on the exact things machines just can't do. And this brilliantly highlights our new reality. It is time to stop stressing about some menacing robot coming to replace you and start paying very close attention to the empowered worker next to you. The true threat isn't AI replacing you. It's someone using AI replacing someone who doesn't. We call this the new productivity premium. In this new economy, the highest value increasingly goes straight to those who can perfectly blend their own deep domain expertise with these crazy new AI capabilities. Part 3, the small business revolution. But hey, that's really only half the story. While we're always hearing about AI in the hands of massive tech giants, this shift actually hands a ton of power directly to the little guy. Research, marketing, customer service, content creation, data analysis. Historically, if you wanted to launch a highly competitive business, you needed an entire team of specialists to handle all of that. Well, not anymore. AI drastically lowers the barriers to entrepreneurship. Today, a solo operator can push out the output of what would have taken a dozen people just a few years ago. It is completely changing the scale of what one ambitious person can actually pull off. Let's keep our feet on the ground for a second, though. The small business revolution is very real, but there are some absolute limitations here. Yes, AI can accelerate your data, your admin tasks, and your content creation, but it completely fails at quality control, keeping things private, and exercising actual human judgment or trust. Let's be real, your spreadsheet doesn't care about your feelings. Unfortunately, your brain does. You still absolutely need human oversight to make sure the AI isn't confidently making terrible decisions on your behalf. Part 4, prices, housing, and wealth. Now, let's zoom out. Let's shift our focus from the micro level of your daily job back to the macro economy, because it forces us to ask a massive question. If the fundamental cost of intelligence suddenly drops, what happens to the prices of everything around us? Let's take America's housing problem as a prime example. If you follow a project's timeline, you can see cheaper intelligence weaving its way into every single stage. It can speed up architectural design, optimize construction productivity, instantly handle super complex mortgage processing, and even streamline property management. So, could AI eventually make some parts of housing cheaper? Absolutely. But we have to be clear here. AI alone won't solve the housing crisis. Things like land scarcity, strict zoning laws, and sky-high interest rates still heavily dictate affordability. AI can optimize the process all day long, but it can't magically create more land. Which brings us to a really provocative question about the so-called AI wealth divide. You know, for generations, the middle-class dream was built entirely on earning income from your labor. You trade your time for money. But if AI dramatically scales up output without needing more human hours, it heavily rewards owning something that scales. We really have to ask ourselves whether AI is going to create an entirely new class of economic winners based on ownership, capital, and intellectual property, rather than just clocking in for an hourly wage. Part 5. Your AI Action Plan. Okay, understanding the macroeconomy is great, but we need to figure out what you can actually do to protect and grow your paycheck today. So here is your actionable framework. First off, take a breath. You do not need to be an AI engineer. You just need to understand how AI changes the economics of what you already do. Start by just identifying the repetitive tasks in your day. Then, focus your energy on developing complementary skills, the uniquely human things that AI simply can't do. Third, start running small experiments with AI tools right now. Don't wait around for the perfect opportunity to fall in your lap. And finally, build your financial resilience through saving and investing, so you actually have the financial freedom to adapt as the job market inevitably shifts. To make this even more practical for you, I want you to take what we call the AI career test. Just mentally audit your own job by asking yourself these specific questions. Exactly what do you get paid to do? Be totally honest with yourself. Which parts of your day are just repetitive processing? Now, which parts absolutely require human, trust, and relationship building? Once you map all of that out, ask yourself the most lucrative question of all. With AI handling all the busy work, what entirely new problem could I solve for my company or my clients? Because here is the bigger discovery. The true opportunity of this decade isn't figuring out how to get AI to do absolutely everything for you. The real wealth is going to be generated by becoming more valuable because you know exactly what AI should do and exactly what humans should still do. In a rapidly changing economy like this one, adaptability isn't just some corporate buzzword, it is literally your ultimate financial safety net. So let's sum up our key discoveries today. AI is an economic force, not just a flashy technological toy. We know that individual tasks will change long before entire jobs disappear, and that in this new economy, ownership matters more than ever before. Which brings us to this final thought. The biggest mistake you can make isn't being afraid of AI. It's ignoring it. You don't have to predict exactly what the AI economy will look like in 10 years. You just need to become valuable enough and adaptable enough to participate in whatever comes next. Remember, every dollar has a story, and now you know this one. See you in the next decode. But before you go, I really want to know what you're going to do next. Are you going to learn a new AI tool, use it to level up your current job, or maybe start experimenting with a completely new business idea? Tell us in the comments what you're going to do first.
WID, Wealth in Depth. Every dollar has a story.